We have some Champions League semi-finals to look at. Liverpool versus Villarreal and Real Madrid versus Man City. La Liga versus Premier League ×2. Will we have a mixed final, all English or all Spanish? Last year was all English. We'll dive into this preview and see what's at play here in these semi-finals because I am very excited. And before we dive right into Pep versus Ancelotti, City versus Real Madrid, we're going to dive headfirst into a shark pitch, because Surfshark VPN are our sponsors for today. And no, Surfshark VPN has no interest in mauling you. They want to protect you from those who look to cause you harm on the internet, thanks to their unrivaled protection. If you travel often or you like to go and get your work done in public spaces like I do, gotta get out of the house sometimes, you know how it is. You know that free internet is a blessing. But connecting to these public Wi-Fis will leave you exposed to anyone who wants to lift your data. All of that online shopping you've been doing, all of those random websites you've been giving your credit card info to in order for them to send you food, send sensitive documents, etc. Well, that's at risk of being lifted by anyone with the know-how to do so. So protect yourself with Surfshark VPN. It works like a mask for what you're doing online. Private browsing and buying, and they never keep logs of your internet activity. And on top of this, if you're trying to chill, watch some shows that are either on a streaming platform that isn't available in your country, or the media library is different in another country, more to your liking, then Surfshark can help you out big time. Turn on Surfshark VPN so you can watch Match of the Day, for example, on the BBC iPlayer, and access content libraries on Netflix and plenty of other streaming sites from around the world. I personally love Surfshark because it is packed with tons of features such as over 3,200 servers in 65 countries, military-grade encryption, a multi-hop feature meaning you can connect to 2 VPN servers at once, plus a no-logs policy where none of your data is collected by Surfshark. All of these and more in the name of 1, keeping you and your data safe and secure on the internet, and 2, helping you access the entirety of the internet without any geo-locks or blocks. Geo-low blocks are picked apart by Surfshark VPN. So guys, use the link in the description and use code RABONATV, all one word, to get Surfshark VPN at 83% off, plus 3 extra months for free, and with a 30-day money-back guarantee, it really is no risk. Thank you, Surfshark, and stay safe out there, ladies and fellas. One thing I loved about Pep Guardiola's approach going into his tie against Atletico Madrid was how relaxed he seemed to be. Relaxed to the point where he openly acknowledged and sort of poked fun at the notion that he overthinks things, saying, quote, "I overthink a lot. That's why I have very good results in the Champions League. It would be boring if I always played the same way. That's why I overthink and create stupid tactics. Tonight I will take an inspiration and I'm going to do incredible tactics tomorrow. We will play with 12 tomorrow." That was an awesome moment. In reality, we saw City play like City in their first leg victory, play kinda like City in the first half of the second leg, and then play like a City side we'd never really seen before under Guardiola in the second. At least not to this extent. Suffering deep in their own half, all hands on deck defensively, as it almost felt like Guardiola wanted to either 1, prove that his team is capable to the media, or prove to the players that they are capable of playing in more than one way. And they can grind out results on the back foot when they need to. Or maybe he got it completely wrong in the second half. I don't know. But as for Real Madrid, it was an interesting victory over Chelsea. First off, they caught Chelsea at a great time as they weren't anywhere close to the peak of their powers. But Karim Benzema was also at the peak of his powers, scoring consecutive hat-tricks and a decisive goal in extra time in the second leg. In some respects, Karim Benzema is the perfect representation of this Real Madrid side in general. Absolutely capable of going quiet for long stretches of time, but when needed, they can arise and be brilliant in order to get the results that they need seemingly out of nowhere, propelled by elite talents like Benzema and Modric. Now, Benzema, in his case, he doesn't go quiet for very long though. But for much of that tie against PSG, they were second best, and at great lengths against Chelsea, they were second best as well. Where Real Madrid's tactics from Carlo Ancelotti can at times feel a bit nebulous, hard to understand, it's still very hard to bet against a man that boasts his Champions League record, whether you want to view it as Carletto getting bailed out or Carletto exhibiting his famed man management at halftime time and time again to spurn Real Madrid on. I mean, that's up to you, but the outcome has been this. Real Madrid are in the semifinals of the Champions League again, it must be said. Real Madrid have made it to this stage a record 15 times now in the Champions League era, 7 more than second-placed FC Barcelona and Bayern, while Manchester City have made it to this stage just 3 times. However, Pep Guardiola himself has made it to the Champions League semifinals on 9 different occasions now, including this season. When you look at these two sides, you immediately look to some of the defensive deficiencies that Real Madrid have exhibited this season. Chelsea were able to score 4 against them in 2 legs. PSG with just 2 goals over 2 legs. With constant injuries to Ferland Mendy and the up and down form of Dani Carvajal, the annual tradition of Real Madrid's patchwork backline constantly changing and often featuring Nacho playing in a multitude of roles, I mean, this really does make things difficult for them as far as defensive solidity goes, but they still do fine. But where Real Madrid thrive and where they are blessed like few other teams in Europe is in their big game players like Luka Modric, Karim Benzema, and a special mention to Vinicius as well. Announcers absolutely love to say, "Cometh the hour, cometh the man," ad nauseum, dude. I swear this is their go-to when it comes to players such as Karim Benzema and Luka Modric making a habit of big plays in Real Madrid's time of need. But it really is their X factor. For all of their deficiencies, as Sevilla found out this past weekend, you simply cannot sleep on Real Madrid. You cannot sleep on them going into a tie. You cannot sleep on them when they are 2 goals down in a tie. Because recent history has shown that they will stand and fight when they are down, and there's a high chance they'll come back. That's what makes this so difficult to call. That's what makes predictions ultimately near impossible to make with any kind of certainty, because there are so many factors. What if there's an injury to an important player for either side? What if one of these X-factor, truly unique, world-class talents decides to turn the match on its head, as they are capable of doing, just seemingly out of nowhere? With Manchester City, I think it's fair to say you have the easier choice when it comes to the overall strength, stability, and depth in each position on the pitch, especially with Ruben Dias returning to City's lineup. You also probably have the easier choice when it comes to the current ability of the manager. I mean, for every great performance from Benzema and Modric to lead Real Madrid to victory, there's a 4-0 loss at home in El Clasico or what have you for Real Madrid, where at times they have just looked bad. Again, just saying that throws a ridiculous amount of shade on Carlo Ancelotti, and many will counter that by saying, well, look, Guardiola has tripped up in the Champions League at very strange, unbecoming moments as well. The semifinals exits, plural, as he did it 3 times while at Bayern. All of the quarterfinals exits with City before his final loss against Chelsea last season. But overall, I think many would choose Guardiola to take over their team rather than Ancelotti in this moment at least. But who knows? I could be wrong there. Ancelotti defenders, stand up. Guardiola also has a great record against Real Madrid, just 4 losses from 19, including 11 wins, and he beat them 4-2 in aggregate as recently as 2020. So when you look at the squad and the overall depth in each position, you look at the general ability currently of the managers. I think City edges it here, but that's all just on paper, and football makes a fool of us time and time again. And that's where Real Madrid have come in. Whoever goes through, it will hopefully be a fantastic tie once again. Hopefully we get to see City at their glimmering best, which is amazing to watch. And hopefully Real Madrid turns up and well, who wouldn't say no to some more heroics from one of their players? Oh, and a prediction. I said this previously, and it feels like the team that goes on to lose a final one year wins the next. I feel like City could be the team that this season, just as Bayern were that team back in 2012-2013, Liverpool were that team in 2018-19. So I guess I'll go with City for this tough semi-final with the understandings that Benzema or Modric do a madness again, and maybe City will go on to win it all. Who knows? What do you think? There's something about this Liverpool side. I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe I'm guilty of just taking Liverpool for granted these days, or maybe some of you feel the same way, but they feel different this season. Let me just say this from the off. Don't get the pitchforks out yet. Stick with me. Liverpool is a top 3, maybe even top 2 team in the world currently. They are at, or at least are touching, the top of the football pyramid at a global scale. But when I look at them, they feel a bit different this season in comparison to others. Let me explain that now. Their defense isn't as airtight. They do give up opportunities to their opponents, but Alisson is there to cover up any sort of deficiencies that may be exposed defensively by their opponents. Their attack doesn't feel as explosive as like the 17-18 kind of days, but I honestly just think that their attack has just evolved and become a lot deeper with the signings of Jota and Luis Diaz. Perhaps their attack feels less explosive because it isn't the ridiculous paced attack that saw Mane, Salah and Firmino flourish together. Instead, when one is out of form, Jota can pick up the scraps, or Luis Diaz, or if they really need it, Takumi Minamino has improved this season as well. They can spread out the goals amongst their attack more. Their midfield is no doubt deeper as well, and so you take all of these things and you put them together, and the sum is greater than its parts somehow. And maybe that's why Liverpool doesn't feel as strong compared to previous. Feel being the most important word there, previous teams. Coupled with their improved depth in every position and one of the best managers in the world, however, and Liverpool are absolutely still one of the most exemplary teams in Europe in this moment. They just aren't as flashy in the attack or stiflingly astute in defense. I think part of this is proven by how they have been able to work throughout the Champions League, but they've never really felt like their backs were against the wall or anything. In fact, they've been able to take their foot off the gas now and then in the Champions League knockout rounds, but a good team can do that while still winning. A good team can get right back into it when necessary. Liverpool did that against both Inter and Benfica, though both sides gave them a scare in their own right. Back in England, Klopp's record is still great. Still very much in the running for the league title. They've already won the League Cup. They're in the final of the FA Cup and the semi-final of the Champions League. That's not bad at all, as they are threatening to evolve into their final form, it seems, serial winners. Unai Emery is a serial winner of another kind. The same can't be said of his club Villarreal though, as their Europa League triumph last season was the only trophy in their cabinet, beyond a couple of Intertoto Cups along the way, which I really need to look into because it was kind of before my time in a sense, and I don't really know what the Intertoto Cup is, but plenty of teams have won it. Anyway, you guys aren't here to learn about what I need to research in my spare time. This isn't office hours with Adrian. But yes, Unai Emery has been doing crazy things with Villarreal because you heard that right. That was their first major trophy, both domestically and internationally, when they defeated Manchester United in the Europa League final last year, which that's just crazy to comprehend. And thanks goodness that they did, because otherwise they likely would have been in the Conference League this season, as opposed to fighting their way through the Champions League in order to reach the semifinals of this competition for just the second time in their history. Villarreal isn't a storied club at the European level. How they got here is quite something. They pulled just 4 points from their opening first 3 group stage matches, setting up incredibly important scraps against Atalanta and Young Boys in order for them to seal their way into the knockout stages. Drawn against Juve, a side that was, on the up in December and January, it felt like there could only ever be one outcome. A continued upward trajectory for Allegri's Juve, while Emery's Villarreal would finally meet their fate with a respectable round of 16 exit. But no, if Unai Emery can do one thing, it's organize a team well to ground out results in cup competitions, as Juve found out. Yes, the flurry of goals at the end of the second leg did flatter Villarreal a bit, but they showed that they can be incredible in defense and ferocious on the counter. When they were drawn against Bayern, their chances of advancing were viewed as very, very low, but once again, they got through thanks to being resilient in defense and managing to still generate decent scoring opportunities, whether on the counter or a more patient build-up. But no doubt, their strengths are sitting deep and hitting teams on the counter through their very fast attackers like Danjuma, Moreno, prior to his injury that will likely force him out of next week's leg. Add in Chukwueze to that list of attackers as well. And I mean, that's ultimately how they're going to face Liverpool, no? That's what Benfica did. And you could see that if we have more quality, we could have hurt Liverpool more. And given Villarreal has arguably a better squad and definitely a better manager than Benfica, perhaps Villarreal could cause some issues for Liverpool. I think that they will do just that, cause some issues. But if you ask me whether I think Unai Emery will be leading Villarreal to their first ever Champions League final, no. I hate to say it, but I cannot get on board with that. Could it happen? It could. Of course it could. Do I see it as likely? No. And if I had to bet on one team to make the final, it would be Jurgen Klopp making their third Champions League final together with Liverpool. Liverpool are too much at times, as City learned this weekend, and I think Villarreal will find out as well. So yeah, that's it from me, guys. Be sure to let me know what you think about these semifinals, if you think there will be a shock and Villarreal advance and keep the dream alive, or whether Benzema and co will teach City a lesson. Beyond that, I'm Adrian. Thanks for spending some time with me, and we'll see you later. Ciao.